Sports Machine on WICR.
Well, hello there. AV Conversation back at it, part 2. In this part of the show, we'll be discussing this year, the 2015 NBA playoffs. Finally, after 82 games, 30 teams, 16 teams left to play for the championship.
I like that. Hello there. Almost as if I fell asleep.
Yeah.
I think Ben thought that I fell asleep there and I forgot to intro us.
He was fidgety.
Yeah, so as the big man over here says, you like that nickname or no?
Benzino, the hero, back on the ones and twos. Young Rigger over there.
Here's the thing. You are Benzino, and that is it. Just like Kevin Garnett is the big ticket, just like Ray Allen is Jesus Shuttleworth. I mean, that's the way that it goes. But you are a big man. I mean, that's the position you play on the court.
Mm-hmm.
That's really your status of exactly what you are.
Thank you.
Who you are is Benzino. What you are is a big man.
And you're Rigger.
And I'm Rigger.
He's Anthony Carl, but to me he's Rigger.
All right, so we'll begin in the West. We have the Warriors and the Pelicans.
Did somebody say the Pelicans?
Yeah, the Pelicans. How about that?
Pelicans, they did it.
So they, just like you said, they squeak into the playoffs for the first time in 4 years with a 108-103 win over the Spurs. So that was a bit of a clutch win.
Speaking of clutch, the reason they overtook the Oklahoma City Thunder because Anthony Davis's clutch shot in the fourth quarter, double pump 3 to defeat OKC. So that's how they got the tiebreaker over OKC, and that's why they're facing the Warriors.
And OKC, I don't want to say, I guess if you look in the grand scheme of things, it's a bit of an upset. I mean, because if you go into this year, the Pelicans were good, but I think OKC, even though they dealt with some injury problems, you still got 2 of the best players in the game on that team. And the Pelicans have won.
And Davis.
But Anthony Davis, I mean, really, speaking of him, I mean, 24.3 points per game, 10.2 rebounds per game, and 2.9 blocks per game. So, what a big year.
The brow.
And he made some big plays against the Spurs in that past game. They also got some good efforts from Tyreek Evans and Eric Gordon, who both chipped in double-digit scoring efforts. But then you got Golden State, and they come in with the Splash Brothers. Obviously, the top, I guess you could say top 3 in the MVP running, Steph Curry. I mean, are you giving him that one spot at this point?
Nah.
You think James Harden still has it?
Yeah, give it to James. I've been saying this for a while. Give it to James.
Well, the point is they come in with a duo that has been killing it now for a long time in Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And you look at these teams basically face value. People are going to say that Golden State's a better team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they were a league best 67-15.
67-15.
They ended the season on a 4-game winning streak. They averaged 110 points per game this season. Now, Curry, 23.8, 7 assists and 2 steals. That's what he's averaged this year. Thompson putting up 21.7 points per game. And here's the thing, Ben, that I look at when I look at these two teams. You think that Golden State is such a high-powered offense and maybe everybody would be out for themselves. No.
They're unselfish.
It's the dimes, baby.
It's all about them.
It's the dimes, and it's about Steve Kerr and what he's implemented on this team. The ball movement, that structure. That's why he would have been so great in New York. You know what the disconnect was? The Knicks don't have the players to win, and Golden State does.
Yep, that's what happened with that Steve Kerr situation. But Steve Kerr, at the helm of the head coach, the first place seed, they were 10 games better than the second team in the West. And we're talking about the Western Conference, and them to be 10 games ahead of the second place team is amazing.
It is. There was no competition. So 3-1 they also are against the Pelicans this year, even though the Pelicans did beat them once this season. But in those 3 wins, they outscored them by 16 points.
Yeeks.
So the only way the Pelicans are winning this, ladies and gentlemen, is it's in an upset, obviously, but Anthony Davis obviously has to go off.
And Davis, David Lee can't guard him like that. I don't think Andrew Bogut can contain him. And Davis is going to get his buckets.
But the problem is I really don't see any way the Pelicans win this game, because if you have a team like Golden State who shares the ball so well, I mean, if it's not Klay Thompson, it's Steph Curry. If it's not Steph Curry, it may be somebody else stepping up.
Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala, Leandro Barbosa, Maurice Spates. Their team had a good bench this year.
So I'm picking the Golden State Warriors.
4-0.
I'm gonna say 3-1.
4-1.
Excuse me, 4-1.
4-1. I'm going to go the same thing just because this Pelicans team is not on television. So this is everybody's real opportunity to see the young emerging superstar or the young emerging best player in the world, Anthony Davis, on display.
And you have to understand that the Pelicans are basically, I mean, they're literally barging into the playoffs.
Yes.
I mean, we talked about momentum a lot on this show and how a couple of years ago in Major League Baseball, it was the Pirates riding that wave of momentum into the playoffs. Last year, I mean, even though it doesn't always have to be that team that's been the team all year like Golden State's been. It's enough to be a team that wakes up close to playoff time and wins a couple of games that actually gets them into the playoffs. That's enough to get the Pelicans up for these games.
Yep.
So if they win a couple of games, I would not be surprised because I'm sure they're hyped.
Anthony, let's talk about that 2-7 matchup, if you will.
Absolutely.
Which is?
That would be the Clippers and the Spurs.
The Clippers and the Spurs. Sure? Clippers and Spurs?
No, actually, is that wrong?
I don't know. You should tell me. What do you have? Because I know San Antonio, they were at the 2 seed and then they dropped. They dropped to the 6, I believe. Is Memphis? Isn't it Memphis?
Let's see. Well, we had the Clippers and the Spurs. That's the East there.
If Clippers are 2, they're 2.
I think. Hold on. Let's check this.
Let's check this out.
out.
AB conversation research.
Doing a check.
You have to. There's no jiggity. Where's jiggity?
Oh man, you see,
Jiggity's in class.
You know, this is the problem when we don't have Jiggity, because we have a producer on this show, and
Robin Jiggity.
and he's not here.
He is
Now,
not.
I'm gonna lace into him the next time I see him.
Man, that's selfish, Jiggity. I know you're trying to get an
Oh,
education, but you got to help AB conversation. Like,
So
it's crazy.
Golden State's the 1, obviously. New Orleans is the 8.
Okay.
No, I was wrong. The Clippers are the 3. San Antonio's the 6.
6.
The 2-7 is Houston and Dallas.
Houston and Dallas.
So if you want to talk 2-7, we can talk 2-7.
We can talk that 2-7, and we can talk about this year's going to be MVP, James Harden, losing in the first round.
Really? Okay.
You just caught it? Yeah. I think Dallas really got a shot to outlast Houston. They have Rajon Rondo. He's back in the playoffs. You have Tyson Chandler. He's back in the playoffs. Amari Stoudemire's first time in the playoffs in a long time. Dirk Nowitzki, proven veteran. Nobody, even though Trevor Ariza is going to be on Chandler Parsons, I'm going to give Chandler Parsons the offensive edge. It's going to be a good series, though.
Now, James Harden just barely missed the regular season scoring title. This MVP runner-up had 27.5 points per game. That's second in the league.
Behind Russell Westbrook.
Now, you're saying that the Rockets are going to go down. Let me guess why you're saying the Rockets are going to go down.
Talk to me.
They live and die with James Harden.
They live and die with James Harden, and Dwight Howard's not there as the heart respirator.
Now, wait a second. I thought Dwight Howard was coming back for the series.
But it's Dwight Howard. Even though he did have a somewhat monstrous playoffs last year, he didn't have a full season. This is a completely different team when he was in the lineup earlier this year. You have James Harden really running the show. There's no Patrick Beverly.
Yeah,
Monty Eunice is injured.
Yep, they're both out.
So, I don't think it's really Dwight Howard, and Dwight Howard's gonna get in foul trouble. It's Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
And who's their backup? Joey Dorsey.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. So Howard was averaging 15.8 and 10.6 rebounds per game in just 41 games.
41
this season.
games.
So you're basically saying that
It's half the season.
you're basically saying that you're coming into this thing and you're not really in the flow of things,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got to deal with that heavy Dallas front court.
Yep.
Which you already mentioned. Did we get? We didn't. No, we didn't. Did we mention them yet?
We mentioned Dirk, we mentioned Tyson, we mentioned Amari Stoudemire, and on that bench, the old guy, Richard Jefferson.
Richard Jefferson.
He's still balling. He dunked it on somebody a couple weeks ago. I'm like, hey, look at RJ. He's still bald.
So I used to. When I remember when I used to watch Richard Jefferson when I was younger, I used to, marvel at how shiny
Oh, yeah.
that head of his keeps it awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it looks like it's like coated with
Grease.
like shoe shine
Shoe
or something.
shine.
So the Mavs will be, as Ben said, they'll be focused on containing Howard. And now, with that being said, the Rockets are making a league best 11.4 3-pointers per game, and Dallas has one of the worst 3-pointing defenses in this game, 37% in this league. So is it safe to say that Houston can go to their 3-point shooting against Dallas?
They will be looking to shoot the lights out. Trevor Ariza has the capability. We all know James Harden. But give me Terrence Jones as an X factor for this Houston Rockets team. Jones has been injured this year with he had something with his lungs, so now his season was in jeopardy. So now he's in the playoffs.
Right.
He's not going to let this opportunity pass by. He's going to do his thing.
Now, we can't forget that the Mavs made a big move this year for Rajon Rondo.
Yes.
And Rondo comes over. Now, he's a pass-first player, obviously one of the best players in the league with that. He's averaging 7.9 assists per game this season, but it doesn't seem to translate that well to Dallas when you look at it all. Because when you break down his numbers, those assist numbers have dropped to just 6.5 assists per game with the Mavs compared to 10.8 with the Celtics earlier this season.
I want to see if things get if games on the line, if J.J. Barea is going to come in the game, because Rick Carlisle, he won a championship with J.J. Barea and has more experience with J.J. Barea, but also Rondo has that pedigree.
That's true.
He knows how to
He knows how to win big games.
Yeah.
He knows how to win big games, too. He's been in the spotlight. I mean,
Yes.
he was there when the Celtics were good,
Mm-hmm.
and he's seen that. He's seen that spotlight not only in the playoffs but in the championship, in the finals.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be, if you're going Mavs, in what you count? Mavs in what? What's the spread?
Mavs in 7.
Okay, so so they're stretching it out. I'm gonna throw one out there. I'm gonna go Rockets.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Rockets, and now you said Mavs in 7.
Yes. There's 7 games total played in the
But
first round.
yeah, but you gotta give me it like
What? Mavs
four,
in
so
7.
for example, would you say it's gonna be a 4-3 series, or you know what I'm saying?
If it goes 7 games, that means all games are played.
Right.
That means they win
But
4
I'm
games.
slow at math. So tell me what the 4 and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mavs and see, when you say Mavs in 7, you gotta realize I'm not a good math person.
Yeah, I'm not your math expertise. We are not math majors. We're in the mass comm department. Shout out to Mike Demerges.
So I'm gonna say Rockets in 7.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Rockets win 4
Rockets.
in this one, and they'll take the series.
Alrighty.
You see how I am with math
Yeah,
here?
it's a little.
You gotta spell it. You have to spell it out for me.
Anthony, the 3-6 series, as we discovered from NBA.com, will be the San Antonio Spurs as the 6th seed and the Clippers as the 3rd seed. Is this CP3 series to take over, to be like, finally out the first round?
I'll tell you one thing, with Kawhi Leonard on him, if that happens, it's not going to be CP3's. It's not going to be CP3's series to steal. Both teams come in here. Now, they're both red hot. They both combined for 27 wins and 3 losses over the last month. So now the Spurs lost 108-103, which brought them all the way down to that 6th seed.
Crazy.
And it was crazy, and it cost them their home court advantage. So they're 22-19 on the road this year, not great. And now they're playing the Clippers on the road. But in the last 2 weeks, they're 14-2. And to give them credit, in that stretch of being 14-2, they did beat the Mavs, the Grizzlies, the Warriors, and the Rockets. So they have been beating good teams. And in the last 15 games, not only did the Spurs have the second best offense in the league, dropping 111 points per game per 100 possessions, they also had the best defense per game, allowing 95.7 points per possessions.
Anthony, tell me something right quick. Who is the defending national champions of this basketball association?
San Antonio Spurs.
The San Antonio Spurs. Even though they are the 6th seed, they are still the defending champions. Their mission is to retain that title and repeat. They're looking at the Clippers like, yo, I don't care if you got CP3. I don't care if you're gonna throw it up to DeAndre. We're not trying to get this title away from us.
You know, I grapple with this one over and over because the Spurs are basically that team that whether you count them out or not, it doesn't really matter. Because come postseason, come playoff time, they're going to the finals. That's just the way it is. They're the sleeping giant. You overlook them because of their constant success. Their consistency makes them boring to some people. But you know what? You can't overlook the fact that time and time again, Greg Popovich puts together this team to contend in the playoffs. Now, having said that, me, as somebody who's been looking for the Clippers to really show their colors and explode, I've felt for a long time now like they've had that potential. And last year in the playoffs, we didn't see them do it. The question is for me, looking at this team, the Clippers have the best offense in the NBA in the past 15 games, averaging 112 points per 100 possessions. And they're also shooting the lights out. Paul Griffin and Redick are all averaging 20-plus points and shooting, get this, 50 or more % from the field in the last 15 games. So this team is on fire. And you've got DeAndre Jordan obviously on the glass. So when I look at this, what I see is a high-powered team like the Clippers who are waiting for their day and have choked, in my opinion, in past postseasons, up against the team that has slipped to the 6th seed, but you can never count them out because they always seem to do well in the playoffs. It's a tough one.
It is a tough decision. The Clippers bench is they have Jamal Crawford, and being a New York Knicks fan, Jamal Crawford, he's that guy. So I always root for Jamal Crawford, right? But they have Spencer Hawes on their bench, and Spencer Hawes wasn't the guy they thought he was for the Clippers. They thought he was going to stretch the floor so Blake can move around so CP3 can get in there and do his thing.
Right.
That hasn't happened this year. Crawford has been injured, but now he's back. Redick really had to step up this year, in which he did, solidifying that starting 2-guard. But on the other side with the Spurs, you got Bellinelli coming off the bench. Patty Mills is back. Patty Mills was a key factor for the Spurs
playoffs
last year, so hopefully he does his thing. But it's really going to – do you like San Antonio starting 5 over the Clippers starting 5?
To be honest, I like San Antonio's supporting cast off the bench
better than
the Clippers bench, and I like the starting 5 on the Clippers better than San Antonio's starting 5.
Same. That's why it's such a toss-up.
I think that it draws it even. I think that it's going to hurt the Clippers that they're not as deep, but if you got guys out there who are averaging 114 points against the Spurs this season. The Clippers, they've shown they can score on the Spurs. And in 3 meetings, they had a 119-115 win, and that was without Blake Griffin. Obviously, the Clippers can put up numbers on the Spurs.
Yes.
And they've outmuscled them.
Has been proven.
So, you know what? It's very tough because I want to give the Clippers that first notch on the wall, but sometimes you got to stay with consistency. And believe it or not, I want to say the Spurs are going to win this series.
The Spurs are going to win this series, end quote by Anthony Carlo. I'm going to go with the same Spurs going to win.
It's even when I said that, it doesn't sound right to me. It feels I can't pull myself to confidently say that. But obviously we have to pick one here, and I'm going to just go with the gut and say that because the Spurs are who they are, they'll win. But I'll tell you one thing, I would not be surprised if the Clippers win and go to the second round.
It's good basketball like I've been preaching. I'm just trying to see good basketball.
So we got another matchup here in the West, and
Is it the Memphis Grizzlies?
It is.
It is.
The Memphis Grizzlies, and they will be taking on. Let's see here.
Let's see what team is left. The Grizzlies
see what we
will
got.
be going up against blank. What was that show? That Nickelodeon show? And they get slammed on.
The Trailblazers. How could we forget the Trailblazers?
Portland.
They always seem to.
They did fly under the radar.
They did, but
They flew under Anthony's stat sheets.
I remember last year they came out of the gates on fire.
Bang.
Portland was a team last year. So we weigh these things out. We got Gasol on the Grizzlies. He's averaging 19.8. He leads all Memphis scorers, but it's his defense which has been the strong point for him this year. And when you look at when you look at the rest of the team, obviously, with him and Randolph,
Zebo.
I mean, can you get any tougher than that?
That's a tough duo going into the grindhouse. They call it the grindhouse for a reason. That's a nitty-gritty place to play in, and that's the way that coach set it up. He said, "Yo, we're gonna be the toughest team in the land."
Is there any way you can score inside with those two?
When you have LaMarcus Aldridge, the percentage is lifted to scoring in the paint, but you have to go up against Zach Randolph.
You want me to give you my answer? The answer is no, because teams have been just scoring 38.4 points against them in the paint.
That's a stat.
That's a stat, and that's the fourth worst mark in the NBA. So, and both of these guys are combining for almost 20 boards per game. So if the Blazers don't utilize LaMarcus Aldridge, this is going to be a rough night. Well, go ahead, you answer.
They're going to have to utilize Damian Lillard because Mike Conley's he's not the healthiest guy on the roster. He is not.
No.
So Damian Lillard's looking to attack this defense. They're going to blow by Mike Conley. But Mike Conley can't play defense. Let's not get it twisted. He can't play defense. But once you pass by Mike Conley, you're going to have Marc Gasol right there.
Well, you're right. And here's the thing, though. The reason why I say utilize LaMarcus Aldridge, I don't mean let him have a big game, because I don't think that's possible. I think with those two locking down the paint, it's not really possible. What I mean by utilize is work the ball in and out, because the Blazers are shooting 39% from three, which is third best in the NBA. And they're also second in the league in three-pointers made, having 10 a game this season.
Let's get these stats out.
So how about this plan? If I'm going into this game and I'm coaching this team, I'm saying let's work it into LaMarcus. Obviously, he can post up. I think he's got one of the best moves out there in the game. But let's get this ball back out. Let's kick this ball out, and let's take our threes because we can shoot them.
That's going to be a troublesome when Wesley Matthews not in this playoffs for this team. That's why they acquired Aaron Aflalo. That's why they're still going to lose in this series. I'm sorry. I really like Memphis this year. Shout out to my guy Osiris and Max. That's their team, Grizzlies.
All right, so you're going with Memphis. Any particular gameage here? Any amounts of games here?
Let me get LaMarcus Aldridge. He went crazy in the playoffs last year. Didn't he have like 50
He
for the
did.
first two games?
Yeah.
Give him 30 his first game. He's gonna start hot, but Grizzlies will prevail.
All right, so now the Grizzlies are third in the league in scoring defense, and Aldridge has struggled against them, so that's something to take into consideration. I'm gonna have to agree with you. I'll go Memphis on this one. I think they've had like you said. I think it's their year, and I think they're gonna tie up Aldridge enough. I mean, the only life really that Portland will have will be in their three-ball shooting. But I will go Grizzlies, so we agree on that one. How about we take a quick break before we hit the East?
Yes.
Sound good?
Check us out, NorthAbbeyNation.com, WICR, Western Conference Playoff Preview.